She was the goddess of spring, innocent, beautiful, beloved. Every flower that bloomed did so in her honor. Every harvest, every warm day, every living thing on earth existed because of her joy. Then one day, her own father made a secret deal, and the world has never been the same since. This is the complete story of Persephone, and the truth about those 6 pomegranate seeds that nobody wants you to know. Persephone was the daughter of Zeus, king of the gods, and Demeter, goddess of harvest and agriculture. She was known as Kor, meaning the maiden, before her transformation into queen of the underworld. She was so beautiful that multiple gods competed for her attention. Apollo wanted her. Hermes wanted her. Ares himself was interested, but Demeter was fiercely protective. She kept Persephone away from all suitors, hidden in meadows and gardens where only the purest things grew. Demeter's love for her daughter was so total, so all-consuming, that when it was broken, the world itself would break with it. Hades, god of the underworld, rarely left his kingdom. He was the ruler of the dead, the keeper of all souls, the master of the realm beneath the earth. He was not evil, but he was profoundly lonely. His brothers Zeus and Poseidon had the sky and the sea, filled with life and movement. Hades had only the dead. Then one day, perhaps from a crack in the earth, perhaps through Eros's golden arrow, Hades saw Persephone, and something in the king of the dead came alive for the first time. Hades went to Zeus. He asked permission to take Persephone as his wife and queen of the underworld. Zeus, who was both Persephone's father and Demeter's brother, made a decision that would shake the universe. He said yes, secretly, without consulting Demeter, without asking Persephone. Zeus basically decided the fate of his own daughter in a backroom deal with his brother. The king of gods, who ruled over justice and law, ignored both for his own convenience. And to make the plan work, Zeus arranged for a trap. Zeus arranged for a flower unlike any other to bloom in the meadow where Persephone played, a narcissus of extraordinary beauty. 100 blooms on one stem, fragrant enough to make the entire earth and sky smile. When Persephone reached for this impossible flower, the earth opened. Hades emerged in his chariot of immortal black horses. He seized Persephone. She screamed so loudly that her cries reached the peaks of mountains. Only 2 heard: the goddess Hecate in her cave, and Helios, the sun god who sees everything. Everyone else was silent. Hades brought Persephone to his kingdom beneath the earth. The underworld was not the hellish place most people imagine. It was vast, complex, and in many ways magnificent. There were fields of asphodel, ghostly flowers for ordinary souls, the Elysian fields, paradise for heroes, even a palace of extraordinary beauty. Hades treated Persephone not as a prisoner, but as a queen. He gave her a throne equal to his. He gave her authority over the dead. He gave her the title Queen of the Underworld, a position of immense power second only to his own. But she missed the sun. She missed her mother, and she refused to eat. Above ground, Demeter was searching. For 9 days and 9 nights, she wandered the entire earth, carrying torches, eating nothing, sleeping nowhere, asking every creature she met if they had seen her daughter. No god told her. No goddess spoke. Finally, Hecate came to her and said, "I heard her cry, but I didn't see who took her." Together they went to Helios, who told them everything. When Demeter learned that Zeus himself had arranged the abduction, Her grief transformed into something far more dangerous: rage. And Demeter's rage had a cost that every living thing on Earth would pay. Demeter abandoned Olympus. She disguised herself as an old woman and wandered the earth in grief. And as she grieved, she withheld her gifts. The crops stopped growing. Seeds refused to sprout. Animals stopped bearing young. The earth became barren and cold. For the first time in history, winter covered the entire earth. Humans began to die of hunger. Sacrifices to the gods went unmade because there was nothing to sacrifice. The gods on Olympus received no offerings. Zeus finally understood. He had gone too far. He sent Hermes to the underworld to bring Persephone back. Hermes arrived in the underworld with Zeus's command. Persephone must be returned. Hades agreed. But just before Persephone left, something happened. She ate 6 pomegranate seeds. Why? This is the most debated moment in all of Greek mythology. The oldest texts say Hades tricked her, giving her the fruit without her knowing the rule that eating anything grown in the underworld bound you to it forever. But later texts suggest something more complex. That Persephone ate willingly. That she had come to understand her power as queen. That she chose to maintain her connection to both worlds. 6 seeds, 6 months. She would spend half the year in the underworld, and half above, forever. Zeus decreed a compromise. Persephone would spend 6 months of the year with her mother above ground, and 6 months as queen of the underworld below. When Persephone returns to Demeter, spring comes, flowers bloom, crops grow. The world fills with life and warmth. When Persephone returns to Hades, Demeter grieves again, the crops die, winter comes. This is the ancient Greek explanation for the seasons. Every autumn, a mother loses her daughter. Every spring, she gets her back. The cycle of nature is built on the cycle of a mother's grief. Here's what most people miss about Persephone. In the underworld, she was not a victim. She was one of the most powerful beings in Greek mythology. She had authority over where souls went. She could grant or deny passage to the Elysian fields. She interceded on behalf of heroes who came to the underworld. Orpheus, who came for his wife, Hercules, who came for Cerberus. She was the only goddess who had power in both worlds, the living and the dead. Some ancient texts describe Persephone as the true ruler of the underworld, with Hades as her consort rather than the other way around. The most controversial reading of Persephone's myth, supported by several classical scholars, is that Persephone's story is not about victimhood. It's about transformation. A girl who began as Kor, just the maiden, became Persephone, a name associated with destruction and power. She went into the underworld a daughter and came out a queen. She went in protected by her mother and came out commanding the dead. Some scholars argue the pomegranate was the key to her intentional transformation. She chose power over innocence. She chose the throne over the meadow. And in doing so, she became one of the most complete and powerful goddesses in all of Greek mythology. 3 shocking facts. 1. Persephone's father Zeus and mother Demeter were brother and sister, making her the product of incest by today's standards, completely normal by Greek mythology standards. 2. The Eleusinian Mysteries, the most sacred secret ceremony in all of ancient Greece, centered entirely on Persephone. The secret of what happened at these ceremonies was so well kept that we still don't know what was revealed. 3. Persephone is one of the few goddesses in Greek mythology who was genuinely faithful to her husband, despite how their marriage began. Persephone's story teaches us something that every human being eventually faces. That transformation requires leaving something behind. That growth often looks like loss from the outside. That the things that seem to take us away from who we are sometimes take us toward who we were meant to become. Every winter is a Persephone. Every spring is her return. And every time you face something dark, remember that the girl who entered the underworld came back as a queen. Now you know the complete true story of Persephone. Who should we cover next? Demeter, the mother who froze the world, or Hades, who loved too desperately? Drop your vote. Follow Mythos Verse. See you in the next legend.